is a long day. I have to admit, I've shaved twice today already. Once before coming here and once before going on the air once again.
I think we've already had a wreck, Rick.
That's Chris
It looks
Jones
like
right
we've
there,
got
the
damage on the 87.
87 truck. He's got a lot of damage to the front end of that truck, and we had the 48 truck on pit road.
He's got the whole right side tore off that 48 truck.
Yeah, that's the right side of Brandon Nutt's truck is torn up. So obviously those two trucks got together. More than likely one of those drivers was trying to warm his tires up and ran into the other one.
We see that all the time. The drivers weaving back and forth, getting the tires warmed up, getting anything cleaned off of them.
That's major damage there. He can't go racing like that, can he?
That's pretty significant right there. And they're out there. They're running about 50 miles an hour, and they've wrecked. And we're getting ready to go 180 miles an hour here.
I'm afraid that's going to be a little bit of what's to come. These guys are going to be hard on the gas, and you're going to see a lot of action.
Going to try to get the lead away from Mike Skinner. He gets it to the white line. Now watch the back of that truck right there. Then he has to chase it up the hill.
As he's chasing, the 33 of Hornaday was going to try to take advantage, but he couldn't take the second spot away. Side-by-side racing here. Taylor Malsom in the 81 on the bottom of the racetrack.
He's trying to take that spot away from Stacy Compton.
Okay, but just get back in line. You'll get him.
Anybody that's down on the bottom of the racetrack and is able to pull off a pass, they're doing a heck of a job if they can get that truck to stick well enough down low and complete the pass. We haven't seen it done too many times tonight, Bill.
Sure haven't.
Right, what's happening with Taylor?
Well, they started out the race with
Problems, right? We've got problems on the racetrack. The 17 of Timothy Peters into the inside wall.
Remember, he was that group of 4 trucks that we were watching.
See if we get it started.
With Ryan Newman and the 16 of Brian Scott.
Under Brian Scott, looks like it sucked the air off of him.
Yeah, Phil, you had hit me in the arm about 4 times pointing at those guys. You knew that was a troublesome pack all together. They're wadded up. Again, he was down on the bottom of the racetrack, and he just didn't have the grip.
And that's what we heard from the crew chief and the spotter there for Timothy Peters. They said Brian Scott was just on the outside. We're on the bottom. You lose the air on the spoiler. Take another look.
Here it is. We see it so many times. Gets down in the corner pretty good. Then he bottoms out. Watch, he has to chase it up the hill. Now he gets really close, and that's when you really lose that air. And there he just lost the air off that rear spoiler, and around he went. Pretty significant contact with the inside wall.
For most of that corner, he thought he was okay. You know, he got down on the inside. It made a pretty good turn through the center, but as it exited, it washed up, got right next to the 16 of Brian Scott. He couldn't hold on to it.
If he could have maintained that several feet in between he and Brian Scott, he probably would have been okay. But once he got out next to Brian Scott, then all the downforce went off the back of that truck.
Unfortunate for Timothy Peters. Our first caution of the night has come out. It's been all Mike Skinner out front. You see Timothy taking a look at that truck now as he will climb into the ambulance. They'll take him into the infield care center.
You know, we've been following the story of this team. A great start to the season. Shoestring budget, making it work. And this is just a huge setback. A good running truck, a truck that was really fast, and it just got away from him on the exit of the turn.
Again, he was on the inside wall, hit that wall, and then he's kind of caught it here, but he'll slide up into the outside wall and do a little bit more damage.
Yeah, Brian Eichler did an awfully nice job to avoid Timothy Peters.
And you have to appreciate what Brian was trying to figure out.
Which way is he going?
Timothy was going every which direction and didn't have any control of his truck. So he did a good job of just evaluating what Timothy was doing and then making a decision late.
First few trucks didn't come back onto pit road a second time, only making one stop. We're assuming that was for fuel, so they can make it to the halfway point. Green flag back in the air. It's Chad McCumbee leading the field to the green.
Great restart by Rick Crawford. He dove down on the inside of the 6 truck of Colin Brown. Can he hold it down there?
You know, he held it wide open when he went down through there, through 1 and 2.
He's not going to clear him. He won't be able to do that in turn 3.
Getting up to speed, everyone going down the backstretch. Colin Brown able to hold on to that second spot. Now teammates side by side. That's James Busher on the outside of Rick Crawford. Here's 2 and 3 wide just behind him, coming out of 4.
Oh,
Taylor Malsom was completely sideways and spinning through the grass.
And back out onto the racetrack in front of a few trucks.
Oh, Skinner gets clobbered. Skinner gets hit hard down into turn 1.
On his side is Mike Skinner, back on the wheels now. He got hit very hard.
He was
I'm okay.
He got turned around after Malsom spun off 4. I just happened to be watching it. He was sliding backwards, went up in the middle of the racetrack, and got clobbered from behind. But we heard him say he's all right.
Yeah, that was great news.
Yeah.
And that was Mike Skinner himself saying, I'm all right.
Adam Alexander.
He came on the radio, criticized another driver on the track, and you could hear the tone in his voice. He was okay, but the fierce competitor in him was coming out. And after a wild crash like that, you tip the cap to NASCAR for their safety and how well these trucks are made. And I tell you what, while it's tough on paper to see the point leader have a crazy crash like that, the good news is he's going to walk away. Amazing.
Man.
And race again in our next race at Dover.
They're looking for
A little bit disappointed, I'm sure, after coming off the Kansas race with a win, taking over the points lead. And now his night will end early as the red flag has come out here, as they will have to clean up this racetrack. We saw Taylor Malsom get sideways just as they were going by our speed camera right on the entrance to the tri-oval.
And Skinner was ahead of that. And someone must have hit him from behind, because when I looked up, he was backwards in the middle of the front straightaway, and the thing went straight back up in front of traffic. And
It may have had nothing to do with Taylor Malsom incident.
Yeah. Well, it could have been that Skinner had slowed down. Let's take another look. The caution lights are going to come on, I believe, when Taylor Malsom gets sideways.
there's Skinner up ahead.
See him on the inside of the 13 of Johnny Sauter.
Oh, Sauter pinches him a little bit low.
Pinches him into the grass. Now watch
There's
this.
a white
now.
truck that clobbers him. Watch this.
Right there.
Very hard hit. Got completely underneath that 5.
Hard hit. Is that TJ Bell
I
in the
believe
11
it is.
truck?
I believe it is.
Take another look. There, Skinner was in the grass. Now you see the caution light come on.
See the roof flap goes up, and then TJ Bell. Ooh, wow.
He had no idea. TJ Bell had no idea that 5 was coming up the racetrack.
No, he couldn't. He couldn't. Even if he had it,
Yeah.
there wasn't anywhere he could have went.
Nothing he could have done. This is real time. The 5 truck on the inside. Skinner gets sideways.
Just jumps around with him. You can see he's got his wheels cut to the right, trying to save it from it spinning, and he never got them turned back to the left. And when it got straightened up, you know, it didn't have any way else to go except for into that outside wall.
A hard hit by Mike Skinner into the wall, and it was so comforting to hear him say, I'm okay.
See, Johnny Sauter had Matt Crafton above him. He moved down to give Matt a little bit more room, and then squeezed Mike Skinner down into the grass.
I just can't. I'm just so happy Mike's okay. Look at that. That's terrible.
That's an unbelievable accident. I tell you what, that shot we just saw, there was a cameraman right next to the catch fence when Skinner got up into it.
Look at all this camera work the speed crew's doing. I mean, these shots are incredible. Watch this impact. Look how close the cameraman has this 5 truck zeroed in, and look at TJ Bell. Wham!
Wow, that is incredible.
Great camera work to capture that action.
Look at all the debris flying everywhere. A spring bouncing across down the racetrack on the outside.
What an unbelievable ride Mike Skinner just had.
Every now and then, as a race car driver, you're in a wreck, and you just it was unavoidable. And I don't think TJ Bell had a prayer.
No.
It happened so fast. I don't think he had a prayer of making any call. Look at TJ just ahead there in that white truck.
Ironically, TJ made contact with Taylor Malsom to start that incident.
Easy. Can't help you a lot there. Go down. Go down. Come on back up. Come on up. Good job, buddy. Real good.
That was the
That's
audio
Johnny
from Johnny
Benson.
Benson, TJ Bell's teammate.
Randy Moss, the owner of the 5 truck that Mike Skinner was driving.
As well as the 81 of
Yep.
Taylor Malsom. There's David Dollar.
That was a tough
Randy's
straightaway.
partner.
Tough straightaway for old Randy.
Sure it was.
One truck spinning through the infield, and I'll be darned if the other one doesn't get just totaled out.
Our last race was so good for Randy Moss Motorsports, with Mike Skinner winning at Kansas and Taylor Malsom having a good finish, and unfortunately not going to be a great one here.
You know, we talked to Skinner before the race. He said we just don't need to finish 34th. Well, a crash like that is going to put him back in at least 31st, maybe 32nd. So a bad night for the point leader, but darn, it's good to see that he got out of that truck and walked away. I just can't believe the violence. Did you see all this debris that flew everywhere?
Yeah, another thing there, the safer barrier cushioned a little bit of the blow when he went into the wall, but the construction of these vehicles is amazing. I mean, he was up on top of the 11 of TJ Bell.
Well, TJ Bell runs into the side of the 81 of Taylor Mawson. Must have got a little loose up under Taylor, spun him, but that didn't have anything to do with what happened to Skinner. Look at Jason White. He was all over the back of Kyle Busch.
I think he spun to avoid running into the back of Kyle Busch.
Did a great job of never getting to go in the wrong direction.
Well, all that was happening behind.
There's Taylor Mawson spinning to the grass, and there's Skinner just going under our camera.
Taylor makes some more contact with the safer barrier. And this happens in front of Taylor Mawson.
Man, look at all those trucks trying to figure out where to go. And look at poor TJ. He didn't have a chance.
Wow. At the last second, it looked like he grabbed the wheel and tried to go left. And just Max Skinner was right there in front of him.
Lap 86 is when Ron Hornaday will come down for service. The word from Rick Wren, 2 cans of fuel. And it appears at this stage they will not take tires. And driving by him on the pit lane, his teammate Ryan Newman also running in the top 5 when he elects to come to pit road. Both would like to make an adjustment, but they're going to have to settle for fuel, Ray.
2 cans of fuel going in the number 7 for David Gilliland, and we also saw the 4 of Ryan Newman coming.
Problems on the racetrack.
And now the yellow flag is going to come
into the
out.
wall. The 16 of Brian Scott as well. Colin Brown continuing to careen off the inside wall. He was your race leader, and it looks as though he has problems, gets sent to the outside wall, and that brings our 3rd caution out of the night.
And what a horrible break for Ryan Newman and Ron Hornaday and David Gilliland.
All on pit road, and there you see Cat in the Hat, Jack Roush.
What happened there, Bud? I just got turned, man.
We heard Colin Brown say, I have no idea what I did wrong there. We'll have to check it on replay. I have no idea what he did wrong either.
We've always got a camera that follows the race leader. Here's a look from up above. Trying to get around the 16. It looks like he's moving to the inside, and that's Kyle Busch. Got into the back of him.
He didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, Kyle Busch absolutely got into the rear of that truck and turned him into the outside wall, and then Colin came down and careened into the inside wall. Brian Scott was an innocent victim there as well.
I mean, Kyle just thought that he was going to get in behind the 6, and he totally ran into the right rear quarter of him and crashed him.
What a horrible break for Colin Brown. Here's Kyle Busch. He's trying to go around the outside. Colin Brown stays to the inside to move by Brian Scott. You see his nose on the inside of the 16 truck, so there's no way that Colin was up too high. No. And Kyle just ran into his right rear corner and turned him into the wall.
And you know, Colin Brown was so frustrated there. He's had a tough season, and he was doing everything perfectly. Oh, this is getting good, Rick. Got 3 trucks up front that are on the tail end of the lead lap before you even see your leader. Lead lap trucks on the inside, and our dominant truck all the way at the tail end of this line.
Green flag back in the air. It is Todd Bodine, your race leader at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
And no, that's not him out front. Right now, that's the 33 of Ron Hornaday. You see Todd, he's the 4th truck in line, that blue truck on the outside line.
David Gilliland just in front of him in the 7. Again, they are on the tail end of the lead lap. That's because they had come onto pit road prior to that caution coming out.
Now these trucks behind them, the Todd Bodine truck and Matt Crafton, they all have fresh tires. We didn't see that matter much. Colin Brown had driven away from the pack on his old tires, so might not be a big deal, but definitely fresher tires behind the trucks out front.
Keep our eye on that 51 as he's going to be moving up through the pack as he did earlier. Now he's right behind the 1 of Johnny Benson.
On the inside of the 60 of Stacy Compton. Johnny moves over. Remember, Johnny script 3 wide here.
Take a look at this. David Gilliland again on the tail end.
Sideways.
Goes around. He was your race leader, and into the wall he goes.
Back down through traffic. I hope everybody can dodge him.
Still coming. They're still coming.
So close.
The 2nd race in a row that Todd has trouble, spins on the inside of another truck. Same thing happened to him at Kansas last time out.
That's costly. They got 3 wide down into the corner. Matt Crafton wound up on the very bottom of the track, and when you're in the middle, you're vulnerable.
A lot of damage to the inside of that truck. The driver's side door.
Big break for Hornaday, Ryan Newman, and David Gilliland.
All 3 of them got exactly what they were hoping for, a caution while they were out in front of the leader.
And that'll put the guy that ran 2nd here just a year ago, Chad McCumbee, should receive our lucky dog.
Adam Alexander.
There's another view. You see Todd on the inside of David Gilliland. Now Matt Crafton's going to make it 3 wide. Nothing wrong with that. You see he's down on the bottom.
And he even gave him the corner. He let off, and Todd went ahead and dove in the corner. And when he turned left, hard late there, Phil. There just wasn't any air on the right side of that truck. And watch this red truck. Oh, wow. So close. That's Chris
Jones, I believe, in the 87, did a nice job avoiding him. Here's another view. You see Todd, Matt Crafton backs off. Todd's going to get loose and wiggle, and then he chases it up the hill. The closer he gets to the 7 of David Gilliland, the less air he has on the rear spoiler, and around he goes.
And anybody in this field, including Todd Bodine, would have did what Matt Crafton did. Don't blame Matt Crafton for that wreck. He had a good run. He just shot down on the inside, and then he even backed off a little bit early and said, okay, you can have the corner. You beat me there. So Matt didn't do anything wrong. Todd's truck just got away from him.
Yeah, and Todd looked as though he was trying to stay away from the 7 of Gilliland, too. He could have went up the racetrack and made contact with Gilliland to save his truck, but he stayed out of that truck, and that got him spun around.
He just drove on down in the corner.
Everywhere. Come on. Dig. Great job. Come on. Keep digging. Caution.
So the 4th caution of the night has come out, and it's because of the damage to that 30 of Todd Bodine. That's 2 cautions in a row where our race leader was involved. The North Carolina Education Lottery 200 continues next on Speed.